Now available from Radiance Films on Blu-ray is the literally long-lost film A Woman Kills from 1968. This is from director Jean-Denis Bonan, and this was a film that was shot in 1968 during they were rioting in the streets of Paris while this film was being made, and it was screened, I think, maybe once. It was screened for distributors back in 68, and nobody saw it as a releasable film, so it basically got put into storage for decades until some other filmmaker dug it up in 2010 and screened an unfinished copy of it, and that led to this film's eventual completion and release long after the fact. So what is this film? This is a black and white French film, French with English subtitles, and it details the pursuit or the tracking down of a serial killer. There is a female serial killer preying on prostitutes in Paris, and a female police officer, police inspector, is on the hunt, trying to figure out who's doing this and why and where and who's next and how do we stop this person. So that it sounds like a fairly normal kind of thriller movie, but it's very abnormal execution of this film. This is very loose, avant-garde, super stylish rendition of this story. It's only 68 minutes long too, and as I may have said, shot in black and white, and very, very, very visually interesting to watch. There's a sequence where there's a love scene between a man and a woman. You see, when a man and a woman love each other very, very much. They're laying on a bed, sans clothing, and the camera is shooting up from below, and there's nothing on the bed, so you're just shooting up through the springs, which is something I had seen done in Russ Meyer movies. I never knew anybody else did that, let alone anybody else did that probably before he did. This was an unreleased film, so it's not like Meyer could have seen this and been inspired. I don't believe he did it in a film until a bit later than 68, so interesting coincidence at any rate. Very interesting angle, and there's a lot of that in this film. A lot of handheld, a lot of just interesting presentation, editing, interesting editing too. And I didn't love it. I love the fact that this exists. I love the fact that Radiance has preserved this and released this with such a nice presentation and packaging and supplements to say why this director was important, why this film was important, and to give us a movie just about nobody has seen since 1968. This may have had a video release before this, I'm not sure, but over in the scheme of things, it's not a very well-known film. And for me, it was a little slow. Even at 68 minutes, for me, it was a little slow and a little meandering, but I appreciated what I was watching. And when it did what it did that I found interesting, I found it very interesting. So for students of French cinema, for students of the French New Wave and avant-garde, this is a must-see, I think. And it won't take up a lot of your time, barely more than an hour. So the supplements, if you see my eyes gaze, they're not glazing over, they're gazing over to my notes that are right over there. So we have a commentary by Kat Ellinger and Virginie Salivé, which is great. Ellinger is always great. And she's wonderfully, it's a mix between commenting on the action and being light in tone at times and having really good critical analysis of what's going on in terms of filmmaking, the roots of the filmmaking, what else was going on in the world and in the body of work, the past work of the director, and themes and subtext, and if Kat Ellinger's name is on something, pay attention to it. We have On the Margin, The Cursed Films of Jean-Denis Bonan, which is a film from 2015, but then it was updated. I guess some more footage was shot in 2022, and it's a 38 minutes, and it's basically an overview of the director's work, but it is also really specifically about this film too, and you can see the director speaking for himself about the making of this movie, and that's very interesting. You get short films from the director. You get 5 short films that the director had made that span 1962 to 1967, and they range in duration from 7 to 24 minutes. So there's a lot of content on this. Don't look at this and go, it's only a 68-minute movie, but it costs the same as something else. They've done a great job at filling this out to make more than feature-length amount of content on here. And then you get a trailer. The trailer is newly created because the film was never released, so there was no trailer way back when. So I found this movie to be very interesting. I love what Radiance Films is doing. They're putting out deep dish classics. They're doing the kind of stuff it's the Criterion treatment of films that aren't as well known as most of what Criterion puts out. But I'm glad. I like old movies, and I like world cinema, and I like old movies from around the world. So to get titles that are new to my eyes and ears is very exciting. Whether I love them or not, it's just cool to have the opportunity to see this, and that this stuff is being preserved and made available to people. So available now from Radiance Films on the Blu-ray from 1968, A Woman Kills.